I'm Maya Trabulsi. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition. SeaWorld says it sent workers to spy on animal rights activists. We'll tell you why and what the activists have to say about it. The latest water conservation numbers are out from the state. Californians missed the mark. So what happens next? And a San Diego Marine hits the road, running nearly 200 miles to honor fallen women warriors. You're watching Evening Edition on KPBS. Good evening and thanks for joining us. SeaWorld admits it sent a worker to infiltrate an animal rights group. The admission comes in a post on the company's blog saying SeaWorld is ending a practice under which certain employees posed as animal rights activists. The company says it was part of a security effort in the face of credible threats, but now it's reviewing security practices. Last summer, an employee of the San Diego park was suspended after the animal rights group PETA accused him of trying to incite violence while spying on them. The worker is still employed by SeaWorld in a different department, though. PETA says by refusing to fire him, SeaWorld is condoning corporate spying. Apple has officially asked a federal magistrate to vacate her order, telling the company to help the FBI hack into the iPhone of one of the San Bernardino shooters. Apple says the FBI is seeking dangerous power through the courts. Today, the agency's director, James Comey, told the congressional hearing that it's the most difficult question he's ever seen in government.
I love encryption. I love privacy. And when I hear corporations saying, we're going to take you to a world where no one can look at your stuff, part of me thinks, that's great. I don't want anybody looking at my stuff. But then I step back and say, you know, law enforcement, which I'm part of, really does save people's lives, rescue kids, rescue neighborhoods from terrorists, and we do that a whole lot through court orders that are search warrants, and we do it a whole lot through search warrants of mobile devices.
Comey also said Apple has been very cooperative and there are no demons in this dispute. Southern California Gas Company will have to keep paying to house people who were displaced by that big natural gas leak near Los Angeles. The company is owned by San Diego-based Sempra Energy and had planned to stop funding after today. The judge sided with officials who said more testing is needed. Consumer advocates are warning that gas prices are about to soar. Prices have been falling for the past few weeks, but California is about to make its annual switch to summer blend, and wholesale prices are already climbing in anticipation of that. The group Consumer Watchdog is forecasting a spike of 30 cents per gallon and is telling drivers to fill up by tomorrow. Californians were off target for water conservation last month. The city of San Diego saved nearly 12% in January, but its target was 16%. State water officials say the warm, dry weather is partly to blame.
Southern California, it's been very dry and hot. People feel El Niño's abandoned them, and it's so dry that they can't resist turning on their sprinklers. Overall, Californians have saved 24.8%. That's 0.2 of a point less than the goal set by Governor Jerry Brown. The KPBS Drought Tracker shows California's snowpack is at 81% of normal. It needs to break 100% to put a dent in the drought. You can check the tracker out online at kpbs.org/drought tracker. 6 years ago today, Chelsea King disappeared while jogging in Rancho Bernardo. Her murder prompted a reform in the legal process for criminal sentencing in connection with crimes against children. Today, we got an update on how Chelsea's Law is working. Chelsea's Law changed the way California prosecutes and paroles sex offenders in the state. It mandates life prison terms for violent sex crimes against children and boosts the monitoring of sex offenders on parole. The Chelsea's Law Impact Report includes information on the number and nature of sex crimes against children over the past year. Former Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher authored and advanced the bill with bipartisan support.
We made a commitment that if this law passed, we would see it through, we would monitor its implementation, we would ensure that it was properly enforced, and we would continue year after year after year to make sure that the promise we made when the bill was signed was a promise that was fulfilled in actually protecting our children.
The 2015 report covers 6 counties in Southern California with a total of 332 defendants charged under provisions of Chelsea's law. In San Diego, 22 individuals were charged under the statutes, 4 of whom were sentenced to a 25 to life term.
And since 2011 in California, 38 defendants have received 25 years to life sentences under provisions of Chelsea's law. Governor Jerry Brown appealed today to the California Supreme Court after his proposed prison initiative was blocked by a judge. The judge ruled that Attorney General Kamala Harris did not comply with state law when she approved the initial filing. It was filed as an amendment to a different measure.
On both fronts, in terms of not manipulating the initiative system and stopping what I consider extremely bad policy, the people now have benefited and profited by the decision of the court.
And the initiative calls for allowing certain nonviolent felons to be eligible for early parole with good behavior. The plan has strong supporters and opponents who warn that letting criminals out early may result in higher crime rates in the state. The newest trustee appointed to the San Diego Unified School Board says she will run to keep her seat in June. Sharon Whitehurst Payne was selected this week to finish out the term of Marnie Foster, the trustee who resigned earlier this month. Whitehurst Payne says next month the board will take up a policy to address the issues that led to the resignation.
But what I really want to focus on is the children. And I think this whole issue has kind of sidetracked the district and the city from doing things to help children learn.
If Whitehurst Payne is not reelected, her term will end in December. California college students suffering from a mental illness may be getting some help from state lawmakers. A new measure would help fund the creation of mental health counselor jobs at college campuses throughout the state. The legislation uses a fund match program. For each dollar a college spends to hire a mental health counselor, the state will match it.
You know, college is stressful. And so I think a lot of young people are coming into their own, and sometimes it's complicated, and mental health issues have always been put on the back burner. And I think the stigma has been a little bit, mitigated, but we're trying to make sure we, focus on it more in society.
As many as 1 in 4 college students suffers from a diagnosable mental illness such as depression, addiction, or anxiety. Suicide is the second leading cause of death of college students in California. San Diego will now be home to one of 3 pilot programs designed to help veterans reintegrate into the community. The others will be in South Bend, Indiana, and in Phoenix. KPBS reporter Steve Walsh has the story.
Vets Community Connection nearly bypassed San Diego. Co-founder Doug Wilson says the city seemed to have so many groups dedicated to helping veterans. But what it lacked was a way for the average person to pledge their support.
For those who want to give discounts, great, but there's no mandate. It's basically they know that it's human beings they can trust. It's a way to start building human relationships. It's a way to minimize the divide.
Housed in the county's 211 Center, trained volunteers will match veterans with people in the community who help them answer mundane questions from what should I look for in a roofer to how do I sign my kids up for soccer camp. The service was unveiled Thursday and had already begun receiving calls from vets. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
Electric vehicles have become all the rage with the popularity of Tesla cars and the Chevy Volt. Now, a motorcycle manufacturer in Northern California is revving up to get law enforcement vehicles to also go green.
Internal combustion bikes have been around in one shape or form or another for over 125 years. And they're really at the end of their development cycle. We're just in the infancy of electric propulsion motorcycles. I'm Scott Harden. I'm the Vice President of Global Marketing of Zero Motorcycles. Zero is a California-based motorcycle manufacturer located near Santa Cruz, California. It was founded in 2006 by Neil Psyche, a former NASA engineer, who had a dream or an idea to take electric propulsion and apply it to two-wheeled motorcycles to see what could be done. Neil started out building a line of dirt bikes that were quite promising right from the bat in terms of their performance, weight, overall handling characteristic. Soon evolved into an on-road motorcycle. In most electric vehicles, Essentially, when you strip the battery apart, what you have are a bunch of normal battery cells, just like you would put in your flashlight, all taped together to create the battery monolith. In ours, we use a completely different system. Ours are lithium-ion polymer, and they're all in what would be like CD cassette cases, all square, flat, and stacked on each other like you would a series of playing cards. We mount the controller under the rear fender so that it gets a lot of cooling, a lot of airflow. A controller is what takes all of the energy that's stored in the battery and feeds it to the motor in a regulated manner. Without the proper setting on the controller, the throttle would become nothing more than an on-off switch, and we know how hard that would be to ride. It gives a very controlled, very precise, very linear power delivery to the motor in order to get the power to the ground. The onboard charging system on our bikes is designed so that no special equipment is needed at home in order to charge your vehicle. In fact, all you need is the cable right here, a standard 110 outlet, and it's as simple as plugging your bike in here and the other end into the wall. No more difficult than charging your iPhone. One of the cool things that we could do with it would be to allow people to customize and connect it with their phone and really explore what could be done with that. So Zero created the first app that could be used through Bluetooth, connected to the motorcycle, to manage all the systems on the bike. You can literally track how your bike is doing, the state of charge, how far you've ridden it, how much money you saved in fuel. You can download the logs off the bike if there's any kind of technical issue and upload them and email them to us. There's a great way for us to stay on top of any technical issues that may arise. Over 50 police departments are using our bikes, and the reason is the cost of operation. Pennies per mile to drive, no maintenance on the powertrain, so the bikes don't have to go down for oil changes or air filters or adjustments, anything like that. And then there's a tactical advantage they provide. They're stealth-like. They can ride, they can control areas that they couldn't take in a regular motorcycle due to the noise it makes. And then last but not least, there's a public relations aspect to it. These bikes are very user-friendly. People don't feel intimidated by the noise because they make none. Kids can be around the bike because there's no heat coming off the motor.
We're here at the LAPD Edward Davis Training Facility, located at Granada Hills, California. My name is Steve Carbajal, and I'm an instructor for LAPD Off-Road. Today we will be starting a 4-day transition school for our motor officers transitioning into off-road enforcement. And one of our tools that we have is our new 100% electric motorcycle manufactured by Zero. This facility, the Edward Davis Training Facility, is a training location for our recruits. It has a firing range, it has an emergency vehicle operations center which we can perform high-speed chases on the track. It has a skid pan, which is an obstacle that we put recruits through. It wets the ground and it teaches them how to maneuver the vehicle when it loses traction. It also has an off-road obstacle course here that you see today. The Zero was purchased through a California State Parks grant, and with support of city councilmen, we are looking at purchasing possibly 3 more. We looked at different types of vehicles for our fleet, and this vehicle is cost efficient for the city. Trying to go green and do our part. Costs 6 cents to charge, doesn't use any fuel, and basically it's tires, brakes, and chains, very little maintenance for the city. Charges it about 2.5 hours, and it plugs in directly to 110 volt. It's super quiet, which some of our parks, it's a plus because there's a lot of equestrian, and it keeps the noise down and keeps everybody happy. One of the reasons we patrol in off-road enforcement is to be able to get to those locations that a normal patrol vehicle can't get to. And some of our large parks and fire roads, all the hills throughout the city, has a lot of open space. Some of the benefits of this vehicle is with no gears, clutch, or noise, our officers can focus on patrolling instead of focusing on transmission, shifting, and utilizing their gears. While in crowds, obviously not having emissions is a big key in the absence of ventilation concerns. They can perform highly technical maneuvers during intense situations. as parades, concerts, or sporting events, we're able to go in and maneuver in tight quarters as seen today. In all those locations that I talked about is that utilizing this electric stealth motorcycle is we're able to get in there quietly opposed to our gas motorcycle. So it makes a big difference to have that element of surprise. Some of the tactical advantages of this motorcycle, it accelerate instantly. It's extremely lightweight and great for maneuverability. I do think with time that this motorcycle will replace the gas fleet. Over 30 government agencies from around the world have integrated this electric police motorcycle, and I'm proud to say that LAPD is now one of them.
An assemblyman from San Jose wants to end the practice of springing forward and falling back in the state. He cites an uptick in workplace accidents and higher energy consumption associated with daylight saving time. If the bill passes, it will be up to voters to decide. Until then, clocks in California jump ahead an hour on March 13th. Big waves are pounding parts of San Diego County coastline, some building up to 12 feet. A National Weather Service high surf advisory is set to expire tonight at 10 o'clock. KPBS weather reporter Molly Cochran has more on this week's forecast.
Looking forward to another dry and sunny day across much of Southern California. A few clouds starting to filter in across the northern and central half of the state towards the San Francisco Bay Area later today. This is all associated with another cold front that will be advancing in for Friday. Now, we can look forward to the sunshine remaining across our region. However, that high surf advisory is still in effect until 10 o'clock tonight. So that is set to expire, but still looking at beach erosion, higher surf, as well as rip currents as a threat along the immediate coastline. Quiet skies for the remainder of tonight. Will be dry and rather comfortable. Temperatures in the mid-50s. We should be right around 51 for this time of year for a low, so we can see we are a few degrees above average. But really not worried about any weather-related delays as of yet. As we take a closer look at tonight, Ramona will be under clear skies at 39, Alpine in the mid-40s, right at the freezing mark in Mount Laguna. So if you are traveling farther inland, may need the hoodie or the extra coat for the remainder of tonight. Here's a look at our Friday. We're going to be staying very warm across much of Southern California and also into sections of Arizona and Nevada. But meanwhile, the storm track is starting to press to the south. So another cold front going to be advancing in. That's some of the cloud cover we just saw on our satellite. That's going to be pressing into the northern half of the state, bringing in clouds as well as a few showers. Now, I can tell you across Southern California, really no rain in sight for the immediate future, but I've talked to a few forecasters, looked at a few models. It looks like by the time we head into mid-March, we are going to start to see things change. So we will be looking forward to the potential for some rain entering in as we head into March. We have a lot of time before we get there, but just something to keep in mind. So we will be enjoying the dry skies for the end of the work week, probably going to be racing out of the office, that's for sure, because not only are we dry, but we're also enjoying the warmth. So temperatures going to be in the 70s as we head into the upcoming weekend. We could be looking at a few minor delays Saturday morning into Sunday morning, even into early Monday due to some fog. However, that's expected to burn off quickly by the afternoon hours. Temperatures back on the rise into the early half of the week, 79 by Tuesday. As we check in farther inland, temperatures here also in the lower to mid 70s for the upcoming weekend. Notice we're also dealing with some fog for the early morning hours of Saturday, Sunday, and also Monday. Across the mountains, 67 for a high on Saturday, upper 60s on Sunday with partly sunny skies. Will be dry as we head into the early half of the week. And across the desert, it'll be very mild for the upcoming weekend. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s for both Saturday and Sunday. Molly Cochran, KPBS News.
Kell beats the clock and hits the three.
Steve Fisher and the San Diego State men's basketball team are Mountain West champions once again. The Aztecs cinched their sixth regular season championship last night with a win over Wyoming. Now they've still got 3 regular season games left on the schedule. A big honor will be given to the man behind the building of a replica of the historic San Salvador. Spain is giving one of its highest awards to Ray Ashley, the president and CEO of the San Diego Maritime Museum. The Spanish award recognizes exceptional service to Spain's history. The museum recreated the vessel that brought the explorer Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo to San Diego Bay in 1542.
Oh, it looks wonderful. You know, I'm so glad that I'm here. So it is great. I think that this is as important as the East Coast and the arrival of the Mayflower.
And the award ceremony is expected to take place in May. A female Marine set off today on a 161-mile run from Los Angeles to San Diego. She's paying tribute to the 161 women who have died in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan. KPBS reporter Susan Murphy caught up with her.
Over the course of 4 days, Marine Corps Captain Maggie Seymour will run 1 mile for each woman who lost her life during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
It's in no way to say that, women are any more special or the death of a woman is any more tragic than, the death of her male counterpart. It's just to make sure that it's all included in the discussion.
A discussion drawing a mix of reactions following a decision by the Pentagon in December to allow women to serve in all-grounds combat jobs as long as they meet rigorous requirements.
And I think in the end it's going to prove to be beneficial to our forces and to our national security.
The 29-year-old, based at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar with an air wing unit, served a year-long tour in Iraq and spent another full year in Afghanistan. She says she did not engage in combat, but some of her female friends were on the front lines participating in dangerous missions.
The Lioness program or the female engagement teams or, combat engineers that were out.
Step by step, she hopes to get the message out that women play an integral role in the military. She says she's spent months learning about each of the fallen women. She plans to carry with her a list of the 161 names.
One is Lieutenant Ashley White. She went forth to Afghanistan with the 75th Ranger Regiment, so she was on the cultural support teams. And then also Captain Jen Harris. She was a CH-46, a Frog pilot, who was killed in Iraq in 2007.
Seymour says her wartime experience left her with a deep understanding of service and sacrifice. She says the 800-foot climb to the Veterans Memorial atop Mount Soledad will be a fitting place to end her emotional run.
And it's a tribute memorial to our veterans, our fallen veterans, through a number of years in wars. So I felt like this was an appropriate place to kind of end a memorial run.
Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
And support for military coverage is provided by the Patriots Connection, a program of Rancho Santa Fe Foundation.
I'm Gwen Eiffel. On the next News Hour, Judy Woodruff reports from South Carolina ahead of Saturday's Democratic primary. That's Thursday on the PBS News Hour.
Now, as you know, February is a big month for hearts and flowers. Valentine's Day was just a couple of weeks ago. But did you know Leap Day, February 29th, is also big for romance, especially for popping the question? Emily Roseman of the Associated Press shows us how some Cupid's helpers are hoping to cash in on Monday.
It's one of the most important moments in a couple's life, the grand gesture of proposing marriage. But the stress of planning that special moment has many turning to experts for a little help.
The trend of these proposal packages is getting much more popular.
The desire to wow your would-be spouse with an over-the-top romantic proposal has turned wedding proposal planners into the latest trend in the $48 million wedding industry.
It's wonderful to see the men taking an active role in the whole process, and then hopefully that helps them to understand the role that needs to be played as far as getting involved in the actual planning of the wedding and hiring a consultant and a professional to help with that process as well.
Putting a personal stamp on a proposal is also driving many couples to shell out big bucks to bring in the planners. The Heart Bandits, a wife and husband duo, help build dream proposals by developing ideas and handling logistics that often include flowers, photographers, and videographers. The base price for an executive package, a cool $675. But after helping over 500 clients pop the question in the last 12 months alone, these planners say gone are the days for hiding the ring in the dessert.
The trend that we're seeing nowadays is that clients are really looking to personalize their proposal. So they really want to bring in their photos of the relationship. They want to bring in their favorite song or like the girlfriend's favorite color. So no longer are people really looking to just do the simple things where they just go to a nice restaurant and propose there.
With the help of the Bandits, a surprise proposal for an out-of-town Houston, Texas mechanic who wanted a unique moment but couldn't handle the planning is just par for the course.
Especially if you're trying to do a proposal out of town. You're going to fly there and get everything ready yourself. It's kind of impossible. And with a service like this, it just makes everything easy. You just go through emails and just check back with one another, and it works out perfectly.
With a trip to sunny Beverly Hills, the Bandits pull off another perfectly planned proposal for the books.
Ooh, I got proposed to. I'm still in shock. I cannot believe this. It feels unreal.
Proving every now and then a helping hand can make a moment last a lifetime. Emily Roseman, Associated Press.
And you can find tonight's stories on our website at kpbs.org/evening edition. From all of us here at KPBS, thank you for joining us. Have a great evening. Good night.